The next thing we've got to do is we've got to work on our mount for our apron so that the ball nut will have something to attach to. Like so. It'll attach down here and move the whole assembly forward and back. A lot goes in just to the one Z-mount. The Z-mount's the most complicated, I think, because it has the most pieces. So we'll tackle that next. Okay, so now we just need to remove this tooth bar that was for the apron. I just pushed the apron all the way to the right, and then you just take out these four screws, but you have to pry it because they have it pinned in 3 different places. So just get a screwdriver behind there and pry it out, and the pins just kind of come out with it, so that's good, not a big deal. And we're going to just put this to the side because we won't be using that anymore. And I got a bunch of brand new parts down here that I don't know what I'll ever use them for. I don't know that any of these parts would ever tear up on a lathe, but I guess eventually in 50 years maybe people will be seeking out grizzly lathe parts. I don't know. But anyhow, we got that off, and then now when we start doing our pieces for our apron, they'll go all the way back. I've got our apron cut, the main piece for our apron cut, and I just surfaced it with a 3/8 inch end mill. It came out fairly smooth, a lot smoother than the original finish. You can just leave it the original if you wanted to, it's not a big deal. It's not critical or anything, but I just like the look of it when you surface it, so I just went ahead and did it. So yeah, now we'll probably do a little engraving here, and we got to put a couple of holes in it to mount it, and then do the side plates. Okay, so we've got our apron machined out, and we've got to mount it. I'm going to be using the 2 existing holes here and here. These are M8 by 1.25 thread. Again, I'm keeping everything metric. These bolts were the bolts that were already in here, and so I'm just going to reuse them. What I did was I just colored the top of the apron with a Sharpie, and then took a sharp nail and just went around the circle to find the center. I did that on both. Center punched it and drilled and tapped it. And that's it. 2 bolts hold the apron on. Of course, there's one thing I wanted to point out. I chose to bring this flush with the edge because my side plate's going to be up right below this wiper. I'm just going to bring this side plate right across, so it'll be 3.5 inches tall for my side plate. And the reason I did that is because this side over here has kind of got to step up, and it's 3.5, so I just made them both the same, 3.5 inches. And you can see how close this bolt is to the edge. So if I tried to recess this a little bit, a 1/4 inch or so, then it takes away the holding strength of the bolt here. So I just left it flush, and it'll go across sort of like that. It'll go across like this. I think it'll look just fine. And you can't get a view of the bolt hole, but that's it. So those 2 bolts hold the apron on, and now let's work on the side plates. Okay, so you can see we have our apron, our main portion for our apron made for our Z-axis, and now I just want to work on the side plates. The right side plate will have a hole for the ball nut to go into, and it'll be bolted to it, and it'll just bolt to the C channel here, and then the left side will just have a hole for the ball screw to go in. So let's get those milled out. Okay, so you can see I've got everything drawn up in my CAM program, and you can kind of see we're going to be boring a series of holes, 5 holes here and 6 holes here, and you can kind of see how the ball nut's going to mount to the plate. Got that loaded into Mach 3. So let's get that going, and we'll start milling that out. So we just got a 3/16 center drill. just like so. Okay, so now we're working on the left side plate, and it's basically the same shape. Notch cut in the corner, but we just have a hole for the ball screw to go through this time, and we're not boring any holes for a ball nut. Alright, so we got everything loaded into Mach 3. Should be ready to go. So much easier when you have a power draw bar. Okay, our next tool is a 3/16 end mill. This is a 2 flute. We're going to notch the corner. Alright, now we're going to put in a 4 flute 3/8 inch end mill, and we're going to clean up the top, and we're going to do the hole. I'm running at 2,000 RPM, by the way. I do have a belt conversion, but I'm running on low speed, wide open. Alright. So that's our our Z-mount apron side plate. Turned out good. Probably do a surface. Probably surface this now, and should be it. Okay, so now we're going to do. We're just going to engrave this little directional logo on the side here, just for my benefit. So here we go. Just using a 3/16 center drill to do the engraving. Went a little too deep there, so it's going to be a little boogered up, but made an adjustment. Let's see what it does now. So, it didn't turn out perfect. The corner up here is a little deep right here, but the rest of it turned out good, and that'll be fine. Nobody's going to look at it except for this one time, and then me for the rest of my life, so I'll remember this day. If everything was perfect, then you wouldn't be learning, would we? Alright, so that's the side plate for the left-hand side. Okay, well, we finished our two side plates. This is our left side plate. That will go on this end over here, like so. And, of course, our right side plate that will slide over our ball screw and mount over there. Now, I've got those made, and now I pretty much have to disassemble my Z-axis mount here, pull out the ball screw so that I can slide the plates over the ball screw and get it mounted to the apron. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I took the ball screw apart and slid my plates back over. And now I've just taken a magic marker and colored the end of the apron, the C channel here, on both sides. And now I'm just going to slide my plate up against it, clamp it in the correct position, and then transfer the marks through these holes for my apron mount bolts. And then that's it. Okay, I've got it clamped in position, and now I just take a sharp nail. Just take a sharp nail or an awl, poke it through the holes and mark onto the where we colored it with a Sharpie. Do that to both sides, and then hopefully those marks will transfer and we can we'll use a center punch and drill those holes out. Alright, so let's get them drilled out. Okay, well, we've drilled our holes, and now I'm just going through and tapping them. Just using an M3 by 5 tap on the end of my cordless drill, and just taking it easy, because with these small taps they'll snap on you. This particular drill has a clutch on it, so I got it like set real low. Okay, then just clean the tap off with a wire brush. And put a little oil on there, tapping fluid. I use a mixture of motor oil and kerosene. And that's it. We'll just do the other side. Okay, well, we've got our side plates drilled, tapped, and mounted. And actually we've got both side plates. Drilled, tapped, and mounted. And you can see what kind of clearance I got on the ball screw. You can make yours bigger if you want. I made my hole 3/4 of an inch, and this is a 5/8 inch, approximately 5/8 inch ball screw. It's 16 millimeters. So you can see I chose just to go straight across. That way both of my side pieces are the exact same size. It kind of covers up that little dip that's right there, and they just kind of go up underneath the wiper there. Okay, now that we've got it all mounted up and everything's working correctly, I still have to have this, I've got to trim just a little bit off the end of this gib. You can kind of see where there's a little paint there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grind this down so that it fits behind my back plate over here. My side plate wouldn't be flush if I didn't grind this down. So I'm just going to take a little bit off the end so that'll bolt back up. That just kind of holds this whole apron from tilting. Okay, so I took and ground the end of this off just a little bit, and there's a bolt here, and there's actually a bolt down in here to get to this. And I'm going to try to get this back in place without having to take my side plate off, but I don't think it's going to work. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just take my side plate off, and then I'll be able to stick it back in there. This plate just goes up right here. It was just sticking out just a little bit right there. And now, got it ground down. It's good. And these bolts were tight. And there we have that. Now we can just put our side plate back on. See, I didn't want it to poke out a little bit, so just grind that down a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to get this side plate put back on, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, so I bolted the apron support back on, and I think it's just to keep this from lifting up when you're turning. It's bolted back on, and got everything bolted up tight. Everything looks good, and I think now that we have our completed Z-axis, everything from the stepper motor bearing mount to the apron mount, everything looks good, and pretty satisfied with the way it turned out. I had to turn this around. I had the grease fitting was on the bottom, so I had to turn that around so I could access it. Probably could still get it down there, but turned it around anyways. Alright, so that wraps up our Z-axis bearing mount. Couple of things that I would like to point out for those of you who are trying to do your own conversion. There's a couple things I would have done different. I bolted this up first, and then I surfaced it, which took a little bit off, and also made these holes not quite in the center. So if I did it over again, I would clamp everything up and mark it, and then go ahead and bolt it after I've done the surfacing, and then that way it'd be flush. It's just not quite flush, but it's okay. It still looks good. I like the way it turned out, and it should give me many years of service. Next, we're going to do our X-axis mount for our stepper motor and ball screw bearing block. Stay tuned for those. It'll probably be a couple of weeks. I've got some other things pressing that I got to get to before I can get back on my conversion. So stay tuned for that. Please feel free to comment if you have any questions or anything that you think I left out or I should include maybe in another video. Please feel free to comment and let me know. Thanks for watching and have a great day.